Chapter 6. The Morning Light. The orphanage stirred with the first light of dawn, soft rays slipping through the cracks in the wooden shutters, casting golden streaks over the worn floors. Lilla woke before the children, as she always did, feeling the warmth of the morning sun on her skin as she sat up from her modest bedding. The morning was always a delicate balance of patience and guidance. 6 children, each with their own needs, habits and quirks, all of whom she cherished as if they were her own. She began moving through the rooms, waking each child gently, guiding them through their morning routines. The soft splash of water in the basins, the rustle of cloth as they dressed, the occasional groggy protest from those who clung to sleep longer than they should. Dietro was already half awake when she reached his bedside, his bright green eyes blinking up at her. He was a nature-loving child. Always the first to run outside, always the last to come back in. His fingers were often stained with dirt, his pockets filled with leaves, stones, or whatever treasures the earth had given him. "I wonder where the city will pass through today," he murmured as she helped straighten his tunic. Lilla smiled. "We'll check the maps after breakfast." Nika was next, curled into a ball under her blanket. She had always been quiet, hesitant, a girl who clung to warmth and familiarity. Lilla gently ran her hand over the girl's hair, coaxing her into wakefulness. "Did the shadows return?" Lilla asked softly. Nika shook her head, rubbing her sleepy eyes. "Not this time." "Good," Lilla thought. She moved to the next bed, but the moment her fingers brushed Aya's forehead, she stopped. The girl's skin was hot and blotchy, and as Lilla ran her hand down her arm, she could feel the rough, raised texture of a rash spreading. "Adia," Lilla's voice held quiet concern. The girl sniffled, rubbing at her arm. "It's just itchy." Lilla already knew the cause. Argia had severe allergies, one of the reasons she had been abandoned in the first place. A cruel fate for a child so full of life, with her wild red curls and a spirit that refused to be dampened. With gentle hands, Lilla channeled her magic, feeling the soothing warmth pass from her fingertips into Argia's skin. The girl sighed in relief, the rash cooling and the swelling fading. "Better?" Lilla asked. Argia nodded, flexing her fingers. "Thank you, Mother Lilla. Be careful with what you eat," Lilla reminded her, brushing a curl from her face. "Now, off to the kitchen with you." Argia grinned and hurried off, already recovered. She continued on, checking the others. Ollie, the tallest of the children, was already stretching, his elongated neck making him look even taller than he was. His people were known for their graceful, almost fluid movements. But Ollie was far from elegant. He was clumsy, often knocking over bowls and chairs as he moved too quickly in excitement. "I had a dream we were flying," he told Lilla as she straightened his sleeves. "Perhaps one day we'll find a way," she said with a smile. Kashua was next, already up and practicing with a wooden stick as if it were a sword. "I'll be a knight one day," she declared, her dark brown eyes full of determination. "I'll serve a great king or queen, and I'll protect everyone," Lilla chuckled, fixing the strap of her tunic. "You'll need to eat first before you conquer the world." Lastly, Chiron, the round-faced, ever-hungry child, was already waiting by the door, bouncing on his heels. "Are we having honey bread? Can we have more than one piece today?" "More than one piece today? Maybe 3? Lilla ruffled his hair. "You'll have your fill, child, but hard work brings rewards." I know, he groaned. "That's why I'm going to be rich one day. Then I can eat whatever I want." Lilla smiled as she made her way to the kitchen, where the scent of warm bread and fresh fruit filled the air. As she prepared breakfast, she listened to the children talk, laugh, and bicker over who got the biggest slice. They were all different, each carrying their own dreams, their own struggles, but they were hers, and she would protect them as she always had. As the children finished their breakfast, their chatter turned to stories once more. It was a daily tradition. Every meal, someone would ask about the world beyond their orphanage. And today, as Lilla wiped her hands on a cloth, Dietro's eager voice rang out. "Mother Lilla, tell us more about Arcadia. How did the other gods see it?" The other children perked up, their curiosity piqued. Even Agia, still recovering from her allergy flare-up, sat forward, eyes bright with anticipation. Lilla sighed, setting down the cloth. "Ah, Arcadia, always with the questions about the walking city." She smiled. "Very well, but listen carefully. This is not just a tale of a city, but of how the gods saw it. The children quieted, leaning in. Lilla began. The gods of the pantheon have always had their rivalries, their alliances, their unspoken rules. And Arcadia challenged many of them. She glanced toward the window, where the city beyond still moved, a relic of an age long past. The goddess of nature was Arcadia's most outspoken rival. She saw the city as unnatural, an affront to the way the world was meant to be. In her eyes, metal and stone should never replace tree and soil. Arcadia challenged the cycle, the balance of decay and renewal that she so carefully tended. Dietro frowned. But cities don't destroy nature. People still need trees and rivers, don't they? Lilla nodded. Yes, and Arcadia had gardens, great ones, with the finest plants from all over the world. But nature did not see it as a compromise. She saw it as control, as mankind trying to bend her domain to their will. Nika shifted. Did all the gods hate Arcadia? Oh no, Lilla chuckled. Far from it. The god of elements saw Arcadia as an opportunity. His city had access to rare minerals, elementum, that could be transported across the continent. He welcomed Arcadia for its trade, seeing it as a source of power rather than a threat. Argia tilted her head. What about the sun? He's supposed to watch over everything, right? Lilla smiled wistfully. The sun has never cared for mortal disputes. He rises, he warms, he curses the undead and does his duty. Arcadia was no different to him than any other place. Kashua, who always asked about warriors and knights, leaned forward. And war? Did he fight Arcadia? Lilla let out a soft laugh. War? Now there was a god who couldn't resist testing Arcadia's might. He sent his greatest warriors to challenge Arcadia's strongest defend. When they lost, he demanded the city learn from the fights, improve itself, adapt. Each battle was not just a test, it was a lesson. Arcadia learned from every encounter. Chiron, always thinking about fortune, asked, Didn't the goddess of magic want the city to use more spells? More enchantments? Lilla nodded. Indeed, she did. She would visit Melania, the titan heart of Arcadia, again and again, trying to convince her to embrace magic fully. She wanted Arcadia to join the Emerald Valley in ushering in a new age of magic, where spells and sorcery would rule above all else. What did Melania say? She listened, always curious. But she was a creation of logic, and while magic fascinated her, she refused to rely on it alone. She believed in balance, where the arcane and the mechanical could exist side by side. Ollie, who had been silent, finally spoke. And the goddess of dragons? She must have loved Arcadia. Lilla's lips curled into a soft smile. She only visited when the god creator was there. She would spend weeks, even months, wandering the city in his presence. She sang her stories to him, sharing all she had seen in her travels. For her, Arcadia was not a rival or an ally. It was a place of companionship. The room fell quiet for a moment, the weight of the story settling over the children. What about order? Asked I finally. Lilla exhaled. Order is always strict. She never visited unless summoned by another god. But because the god creator loved Arcadia, she often found herself there, ensuring that laws were upheld, even among the divine. Dietro hesitated before asking, And the god of thunder? Ah, Lilla mused. He only sought Arcadia when he needed counsel. Whenever his battles with demons raged, he would seek guidance from Melania or any other god who resided there. The children exchanged glances, each thinking about how differently the gods had treated Arcadia. And the followers of creation? Kashua asked. Lilla chuckled. They spent more time in Arcadia than on their own sacred island. For them, Arcadia was the pinnacle of their faith, a city built upon the very ideals of invention, transformation, and progress. Silence settled among them as they considered it all. Dietro looked up. But in the end, the city fell. Lilla's heart clenched. She forced a soft smile, tucking a stray curl behind Dietro's ear. Yes, but we remember it. And that was enough for now. The room held its quiet for a long moment after Dietro's words. The children sat still, waiting for Lilla to say something, anything, about Arcadia's fall. Finally, it was Nika who broke the silence. But why did it fall? Her voice was small, hesitant, as if afraid of the answer. Argia tugged on Lilla's sleeve. You always tell us about how grand it was, how it moved like a titan across the land, how the gods watched it, how it carried knowledge from one corner of the world to the next. She hesitated. But if it was so great, Why is it gone? Lilla felt the weight of their gazes, young eyes filled with the need to understand. The answer rested heavy in her heart, a truth she had carried for 500 years. But some truths were not meant for children. She let out a slow breath, smoothing down the front of her robes. Ah, but if I told you that now, wouldn't it ruin the meaning of the story? She lifted her blind gaze toward them, a small, knowing smile forming on her lips. The children blinked. Huh? If you read a book, would you skip to the last page before reading the middle? Lilla asked. Kashua scrunched her nose. That would spoil everything. Exactly, Lilla said with a nod. If I tell you how it ended before you understand why it was built, what it stood for, and what led to its fall, then the story loses its meaning. The children exchanged glances. But we want to know, Ollie protested. Lilla chuckled. Patience, little ones. Would you rather know the end or understand the journey? Dietro crossed his arms, frowning. Can't we have both? Lilla smiled. One must come before the other, and besides... Her voice softened. You may not like the answer when it finally comes. That gave them pause. Even Chiron, who always thought about wealth and gain, looked uncertain. Fine, Nika mumbled. We'll wait. Good, Lilla said, rising to her feet. Then let's walk through the story properly, step by step. Arcadia's fall is only part of its tale, but let me tell you more about how it truly lived. The children, still full of curiosity, leaned in once more.